tonight on Fox 11 Plus.
Now at 8, a street vendor chased by Border Patrol agents in broad daylight. Witnesses in Rialto say it ended with a shocking hit and run. Good evening. You're watching LA Live News tonight. I'm Susan Hirasuna.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Christine Devine. Marla Tejas has the night off. The Rialto Police Department say they didn't know about the immigrant being chased before it happened or after it took place.
Fox 11's Gina Silva is live in Rialto with the latest for us. Gina.
Well, the dramatic encounter was captured on security video, but there are two completely different versions of what happened. You decide.
Oh, they just like it out.
On security video, a Rialto street vendor is seen running through a parking lot while being pursued by Border Patrol agents in a black pickup truck. As the truck passes, the vendor appears to be struck by the passenger side mirror, causing him to lose his balance and fall to the ground.
We were frightened for the gentleman that got hit because they didn't even ask him for his name or anything. They just picked him up and took him in.
They hit him about right here, and they hit him. He tried to run. He couldn't run anymore because obviously his foot was hurt.
Employees at a neighboring dental clinic say they rushed outside when they heard all the commotion. Then they checked their security footage.
They hit somebody, they grabbed him, and they threw him in the car, and they just took off.
Videos of the incident were posted on social media and quickly sparked outrage.
Yeah, that is so bad. Oh.
But the Department of Homeland Security gives a different account. They say the man is an undocumented Guatemalan national who did not comply with Border Patrol commands, ran, and that he made contact with the mirror on the Border Patrol's vehicle. Part of their statement reads, federal law enforcement officers used their training to pursue the target on foot and had a vehicle pre-positioning to prevent the subject from absconding.
They didn't ask him if he was all right. I know that if it was a police officer, they normally call a medic. They just took off, threw him in the car and took off.
We were very afraid, and also we felt bad for the person because we don't know where he's at, what happened to him. Nothing was able to, we don't have any information.
Homeland Security says the man did not ask for medical attention and he was taken into custody. His identity has not been released. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Gina, they say that they don't know the street vendor, but they do have, or rather have seen him there as a street vendor. But beyond that, no one knows if he lives nearby or anything like that. True?
Yeah, no one really knows him except that he is a street vendor in the area, but they don't know his name. They don't know where he's from. They have no information. They would like to find out who it is so they can help out the family.
Right. And get more information about where he is and what his medical condition is or physical condition.
Yeah. All right, Gina, thank you.
New tonight, the reservoir at the center of controversy during the Palisades wildfire going offline temporarily once again. Santa Ynez Reservoir was having issues with water during the fire, and it remains a large part of the ongoing investigation.
Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf live now in Pacific Palisades with what we know. Matthew?
Well, they fixed that reservoir in June from when it was damaged during the fire. Now it needs repairs again, and a lot of residents aren't happy about it. Now go ahead and take a look at video here. This is the reservoir that has gotten so much attention the last several months. It was empty and offline during the Deadly Palisades fire 11 months ago. In June, LADWP replaced the damaged floating cover, but now it's said to be broken again. So the plan currently is to drain the reservoir in January for another round of repairs. This will leave it without water again for an estimated 9 months. Given fire concerns, crews will construct 6 miles of hose line from water tanks in Topanga and pump that through a 10-inch high-pressure water hose to the Palisades. But tonight, residents aren't happy.
This reservoir is really critical. It was built for fire protection. Psychologically, it's one of the main things that the people in the Palisades want. They don't want a cap. They don't want a hose. They want a reservoir that can be used to fight fires.
It's tone deaf, to say the least. On the eve of the anniversary of one of the most traumatic events and largest urban wildfires in the country, to think that they somehow think it's okay at this time and under these circumstances. I mean, look how windy it is even tonight. To be able to take down the reservoir again for another 9 months just makes no sense.
So officials say that tonight the reservoir is online and will remain online until this new cover is delivered. They expect that to happen in January, but again, a lot of residents not happy about this and the timing coming on the 1-year mark of the deadly Palisades fire. Reporting live time in Pacific Palisades, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
Well, Matthew, as you point out, the reservoir was filled and supposedly fixed in June. How is it that it needs a new fix so soon after?
Yeah, that is what everyone is wondering. It seems like this fix didn't last very long at all. Speaking with Councilwoman Tracy Park tonight, she wants to find a more permanent solution. She's thinking maybe a new type of cover altogether, possibly made of concrete, but they definitely think some sort of change needs to happen.
All right, Matthew, thank you. All right, now in developing news, Nick Reiner made his first court appearance today after being charged in the murders of his parents, Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner. Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez was inside the courtroom.
Your Honor, if we could, I would like to ask for a continuance of the arraignment. I won't enter a plea at this juncture. It's too early.
Too early to enter a plea in LA's criminal court. It is the first appearance for Nick Reiner, who's facing murder charges in connection to the stabbing deaths of his parents, filmmaker Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner. Media barred from showing video of the 32-year-old, only sketches. The tired-looking Nick wearing a blue suicide prevention smock.
Your counsel's requesting that your arraignment be continued.
Reiner whispering the words, "Yes, Your Honor," as he agreed delaying his arraignment till January 7th. After court, his attorney telling reporters,
There are very, very complex and serious issues that are associated with this case.
Fox 11 has obtained surveillance footage of Reiner from a gas station off Exposition Boulevard just before his arrest Sunday. Inside the convenience store, he seems to keep his eye on a man who appears to be law enforcement. Nick pays for a drink and leaves, walking out casually across a parking lot before his arrest, which you can see on this video given to the New York Post. An LAPD cruiser rushes in, an officer gets out, and Reiner puts his hands up. He remains in custody without bail.
This is a devastating tragedy that has befallen the Reiner family. We all recognize that.
We did not see any members of the family, of Nick's family, in court, but his brother and sister did release a statement reading in part, "Words cannot even begin to describe the unimaginable pain we are experiencing every moment of the day." We have put the whole statement, it goes on our website at foxla.com. The other thing that happened today is the coroner released the cause of death, quote, multiple sharp force injuries. In other words, they were stabbed to death. In downtown Los Angeles, I'm Christina Gonzalez, Fox 11 News.
Developing news tonight, the U.S. government is admitting partial responsibility for a deadly crash near Washington, D.C. An airliner and a Black Hawk helicopter collided near Reagan National Airport last January, killing 67 people. Officials say an air traffic controller violated procedures, but both pilots also made mistakes. The helicopter crossed into the jet's path as it was landing. Victims' families have filed lawsuits, and an attorney says the government's admission is a step forward, but not the full story.
The details tonight on a missing cat allegedly stolen by an Amazon delivery driver in Lakewood. Amazon says it's working with law enforcement to help find the driver. Security footage shows a delivery driver walking away with their cat named Piper during a package drop-off last week. Piper's owner says the cat holds deep sentimental value, especially after her husband's passing. She describes Piper as a source of comfort for her children, and a lasting connection to their father. Amazon's identified that driver as a third-party flex contractor, but has not been able to reach him.
Today, Amazon released a statement saying, in part, this was a horrible act. The Amazon Flex delivery partner in question is no longer eligible to deliver to our customers. We're in touch with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office to share relevant information with them and will continue to support their investigation. However, the cat is nowhere to be seen. Still ahead at 8, President Trump addresses the nation from the White House. what he had to say about all that's happened in 2025 and what he's planned for the year ahead.
Plus, runaway reindeers back where they belong after being found running around on the 5 freeway. We're live with the Christmas miracle.
And in our weather, we've got some warm temperatures on the way tomorrow. Look at the 70s and 80s for inland spots. That'll be the last really warm day for a while. We start cooling off Friday into the weekend. And we still have rain in the forecast for next week. We'll get to those details coming up.
So 8:33 with Facing a dip in popularity and criticism over the economy, President Trump spoke directly to voters tonight, outlining his 2026 political agenda after a year of aggressive policy changes.
Those changes included cuts to the federal government and a crackdown on immigration. Fox 11's Connor Hansen has details of the president's speech.
President Trump addressing the nation with a primetime speech from the White House.
Over the past 11 months, we have brought more positive change to Washington than any administration in American history.
Making a major announcement.
In honor of our nation's founding in 1776, we are sending every soldier $1,776.
Closing out the first year of his second term by touting his accomplishments and hoping to flip the script on affordability for Americans still anxious about the economy and inflation.
Tonight, after 11 months, our border is secure. Inflation has stopped. Wages are up. Prices are down.
The president says Americans will feel the benefits from his economic policies much more next year, while blaming his predecessor, Joe Biden, for stubborn high prices.
The last administration and their allies in Congress looted our Treasury for trillions of dollars, driving up prices and everything at levels never seen before.
A recent Fox News poll finds some 72% of voters viewed the economy negatively, and when compared to a year ago, voters say costs have increased, with groceries and utilities at the top of the list.
He promised he'd bring costs down on day one. The truth is, for too many Americans, costs are just too damn high.
In 2026, President Trump is expected to hold campaign-style events around the country, touting his economic agenda ahead of the midterms. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Big political news here. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino is resigning next month after a short, controversial tenure. Former Secret Service agent and podcast host announced his decision online, thanking President Trump for the opportunity. Bongino did face criticism for past claims about high-profile cases, including the administration's handling of the Epstein files and the January 6th pipe bombs.
Well, with the Rose Parade just over 2 weeks away, LA County Sheriff Robert Luna is reassuring families that safety planning has been underway for months. He spoke about it with Fox 11 today on Good Day LA.
Public safety is my top priority. We have a lot of events in LA County, none bigger than the Rose Parade, Rose Bowl. We are on 24/7. Our intelligence capability through other task forces that we're assigned to with federal, state, and other partners. And that is critical to keeping everybody safe.
The recent arrests of 4 people accused of planning several bombings on New Year's Eve in L.A. raised safety concerns even more. Sheriff Luna says his department is working closely with Pasadena police, adding hundreds of deputies and specialized units. He's also reminding the public to stay aware of their surroundings and to report anything suspicious as crowds gather for the holiday events. Free Rose Parade tickets are being offered to fire-impacted residents. The Tournament of Roses announced over 1,000 grandstand tickets and 10,000 Float Fest tickets will go to those affected by the Eaton and Palisades fires. Local organizations will distribute parade tickets, while Float Fest tickets can be claimed online. A few free tickets for other Rose Bowl events are also available. Officials say it's a way to bring joy and support the community during New Year's celebrations. Coming up, 2025 took us all on an emotional journey.
Take you back to the biggest moments that made an impact. Next.
Weather is sponsored by My Home Sold.
All right, looking live from our Mount Wilson camera. Well, it looks actually kind of, I don't know,
Bright?
peaceful, bright.
Yeah.
Less foggy or more foggy?
Less foggy than this time last night. There's not a dense fog advisory for tonight for a change, so that's something that's a little different, but I still think there's going to be some patches of fog. Here's another live view out there right now as we're kind of zoomed in from the west side towards downtown. And again, it is mostly quiet right now with the exception of some spots where the winds are on the strong side, which is actually making for a pretty interesting microclimate situation that I'll explain in a moment. But first, it's these areas north of LA where we have a wind advisory until 10 o'clock tonight. So this is almost wrapped up. But we have pretty strong winds out of the north. And those winds, we talked about this yesterday, that we would expect late day today for some of these winds to kind of squeeze their way from this area down into west, like the west side of LA or along the coastline of LA County. And that's what we're seeing right now, which is making for an interesting situation with the temperatures. So compared to 24 hours ago, it's 15 degrees warmer in Santa Monica, where it's at its warmest part the entire day. Even earlier when the sun was up, it wasn't nearly as warm as it is right now because these winds kind of coming through this particular portion of LA right here. So the west side, because of these winds coming in out of the north, just seeing this little boost in temperatures late day after sunset. We got a mix of 60s and 70s there, but away from those winds, we see temperatures that are cooler. It's 59, for example, downtown. And you see the 50s to near 60-degree temperatures a little farther east. So that's just a little thing that's going to be kind of different with the temps in the next couple of hours. Then things will start to even out. And as we go through the night, you can see our forecast low temperatures pretty much bottom half of the 50s for a lot of the greater LA area. And then tomorrow, it's going to be a warm day and probably the warmest we'll see for the foreseeable future. Let's phrase it like that, because we do get a little cooler Friday this weekend and much cooler next week with some wet weather potentially coming our way. But notice the 80s across the valleys in the Inland Empire tomorrow, maybe upper 70s around LA. Orange County looking at some 70s as well along the coast, upper 60s to near 70 degrees. So those temps get a little pop up tomorrow. Also, though, if we're tracking fog, it is a possibility here in this orange color. Watch as we go from 1 a.m. into 7 a.m. So it's this area right here, not all of LA, but some parts of LA and down to Orange County, seeing some of that fog early. It won't linger too late in the morning, though, and certainly by the afternoon, we expect mostly sunny conditions and, again, those warmer temperatures. Now, for several days, the storm track has been positioned up here, and it's been affecting the Northwest and Northern California. Recently started getting some wet weather. They've got a couple of rounds coming in. Here's another one Friday. There's another one over the weekend, so they're going to see some heavy stuff from this. The storm track, instead of being a kind of flat west to east track, shifting a little bit, tilting, and also heading southward, which, as you see, as we go into Tuesday of next week, we start to see a little rain maybe showing up here. And then Wednesday, it's looking more likely and widespread and possibly some pretty hefty downpours around here around the middle to even end of next week. So after a very long stretch of pretty quiet weather throughout this month and warmer than normal temperatures, we see our pattern finally flip during the Christmas holiday. Looking at tomorrow, though, about 77 for LA. We'll go 72 on Friday. We'll go upper 60s this weekend, and then 60s, but even cooler next week. And notice the rain chances. So maybe a little something shows up Tuesday. We expect a better rain chance on Wednesday, which would be Christmas Eve, and then rain probably continuing, at least a chance of it, into Christmas Day on Thursday. All right, for the coast, around 70 tomorrow, but 60s coming after that, so like mid-60s this weekend. And again, that rain showing up towards the end of the 7-day forecast. For the valleys in the Inland Empire, we've got 85 tomorrow, 80 on Friday, mid-70s this weekend with a little more cloud cover, and then highs in the 60s next week as that wet weather starts to move in just in time for, again, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, looking like there's going to be some rain and maybe some super high elevation snow, but it's going to be overall a warm for December kind of storm system. Back to you.
Santa's going to get wet?
Santa's going to get wet.
I still had a family of 7 living out of their car. They get a life-changing surprise from the Hood Santa.
We're there for the heartwarming moment. Plus, we're checking in with Ed Lascos and some runaway reindeer. Ed?
Now, Susan, you just gave away the lead. I was just going to tell everybody we've seen everything on the freeway. So crazy pursuits to plane landings. And yes, reindeer on the 5 freeway. Stand by for that.
across SoCal. This is LA Live News Tonight on Fox 11 Plus.
2 reindeer that were seen dashing down the 5 freeway last weekend, they're back with their owner tonight. It took multiple agencies to wrangle them.
Let's get the whole story from Fox 11's Ed Lascos live in Chatsworth, where I'm sure Santa's been concerned about this.
Oh, yeah, very concerned about it, and they're very happy to say that the reindeer were not hurt in all of this. Their big run for freedom, but it's a crazy one. I don't even think I believe it yet. The last thing you'd expect to see on a freeway, the reindeer early by a couple of weeks for Christmas Eve, but I'll tell you if it makes any difference. You know, they were heading northbound on the 5. Watch. Rudolph on the run. Look, that's a reindeer just trotting along, minding its own business right in the middle of the freeway. Watch, it's even keeping up with that Caltrans truck, and it seems to be making its way up to the North Pole here on the 5 freeway near the 118. Now, a closer look. We're talking 2 reindeer here that got out of their trailer last weekend, corralled, taken off that freeway, and now in the care of LA Animal Services here at their center in Chatsworth. Oh, they're the real deal, all right. Fully grown reindeer. They're called Noel and Cookie, and they're hungry after their big run. The vet's checking them out, carefully checking them out, making sure their antlers very sensitive, they're not hurt. They're both cleared, they're in good health, and now they're harnessed and they're led on to their trailer. And the next time we'll be seeing these reindeer, they'll be guiding a sleigh on Christmas Eve instead of this Caltrans truck on the 5 freeway. Back here live, as they say, only in L.A. Huh? You know, they got a lot of calls on 911. That was early on the weekend Saturday, and then the folks on the calling in 911, going over to the CHP, saying there's some kind of animal on the freeway. Somebody said, you know, it looks like a big dog. Actually, they got a call, ladies, that said there's a moose running down the freeway. And the Caltrans gets there, CHP gets there, and they realize that ain't no moose. Reindeer of all things. But luckily, this thing ends with the reindeer. They're okay. They're not hurt. They're back with their owner, put on a safer trailer this time, and getting ready for whatever activity they're going to be doing as Christmas Eve approaches.
Yeah, what kind of activities do these reindeer participate in? Do you know?
Oh, you know how it is. They can fly, and they make that sled fly on Christmas Eve. All the children get all excited. Even the grown-up children get all excited. A kind of a nice, as someone was saying to me earlier, you know, it's a nice story. And I said, why? You know, I mean, the reindeer of all things. And they said, well, you know, think about the year we've had here in L.A. So reindeer on the freeway, that's the kind of a perfect way to end it. And, you know, his name was Sam. I said, Sam, you know, that's a good way of putting it, huh? You know, a perfect way to end it.
And my question is, the owner, Santa, not sure whom it is, how did the reindeer get free, break free?
Well, I think they're
on the freeway.
Yeah, they're crafty reindeer, huh? Yeah. I don't know. That's what they were saying. I don't know if they used. Somebody was theorizing that maybe they used one of their antlers to lift up the latch. I don't know if that's true or not, but they made a run for it. But it was amazing how easy, how effortlessly that reindeer was trotting along, keeping right up with that Caltrans truck as it was going along. And the reindeer wasn't even breaking a sweat, and you could see the steam coming. It was early in the morning, so that it was puffing hard. But amazing to see how a reindeer doing what they do.
Indeed. Yeah, at least they didn't take off and fly.
I was going to say, that could have happened.
They needed to be in the corral safely.
That would have been breaking news.
Yeah, that would have been breaking news for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Ed Lascos, thank you so much. Well, the TSA is cracking down on unruly passengers this holiday season. Travelers who violate security rules or disrupt flights could face fines up to $44,000. The FAA reports over 1,500 incidents of disruptive behavior this year. It's a drop. Here's the good news. It's a drop from 2021's record-breaking 6,000 cases, but still far above pre-pandemic levels. Authorities warn no threats, no violence, and no abuse will be tolerated. Since 2021, fines have totaled $2.2 million. Yikes. A Long Beach woman and her 6 children living out of their car are granted a Christmas miracle by Tito Rodriguez, better known as Hood Santa.
We know him well. Fox 11's Nick Garcia is in Long Beach, where the family is off the streets, at least for now.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas.
This is the moment Tito Rodriguez, the Hood Santa, surprised Sabrina Martinez and her 6 kids with a 2-night stay in an Airbnb. But most nights look different for them. Martinez is disabled and has faced challenges.
One day, our landlord sold the property and we became homeless.
She says she's been unable to secure housing
And we've been trying and trying and trying and trying. No luck, no luck.
The family has been in and out of hotels, and when they can't scrape together enough money for one, they sleep in their SUV.
I just look back and just look at them like I gotta do something. I say, God, please help me.
She says her prayers were answered when she reached out to Rodriguez, who for more than a decade has been helping serve underprivileged communities in the LA area under the nickname Hood Santa.
I read the message and it tugged at my heart. She said, hey, you know, I have 6 children. I'm living in the park. I'm homeless. So they asked for water and peanut butter crackers. And that's what reeled me in.
He showed up with food and has been working to help find the family housing.
So it's ready to go.
It's ready to go.
A place to sleep and a kitchen.
The stove. I want to cook so bad. I want to be able to make my kids a meal.
As Sabrina looks for a sign things will get better, the words painted on the Airbnb seem to spell it out. This must be it. Nick Garcia, Fox 11 News.
Well, if you have a corporate job and are thinking of donating, check with your company. They may match or even double your donation to Local Hearts Foundation. That's the one that helped fund their stay.
Right. Hood Santa founded that nonprofit, Local Hearts Foundation. And of course, during the holidays, you'll see him looking a lot more like Santa or Santa's helper. As he got
so that nickname, Hood Santa, that's not for nothing.
Yeah,
he actually does take on the persona.
But he does the work, as we know, all year long now. And so Hood Santa is year-round work.
And P.S. Fox is one of those companies that will double your donation
it's
to a certain point. Yeah,
it's great. Yeah, thank you, Fox 11, for matching.
Thank you.
Right. It's been a challenging year for so many families who've been trying to keep up with high prices.
Fortunately, at El Camino College, its Warrior Closet is providing free food and clothes for students and the community. No questions asked. Fox 11's Sandra Endo takes us there.
Shopping at school for Letitia Robinson, this is one of the biggest resources for her here at El Camino College.
Well, I don't know what I would have done without the support of them, especially during the holidays, because I got donated of the items that I need to cook with.
Racks and racks filled with clothes and shelves stocked with food, all free for the taking for students.
I had a job interview and I needed clothing to wear, and someone told me about it and I came and it was so exciting. Like, I was like on a shopping spree.
The college started the Warriors Closet back in 2018 for students who need clothing, not just for themselves, but for family members and even kids. The college teamed up with community partners for donations and also has a food pantry stocked with fresh produce and kitchen essentials.
We're trying to again support our students holistically by making sure that they have everything they need to be successful as students. One of the things that we've done is trying to reduce that stigma associated with, again, utilizing secondhand clothing. So we've made it more like a store experience. Again, we tell students come in, shop for free. They're able to come in 3 days a week.
I want that Welch's grape juice if I may.
Okay.
Laura Banks is a grandma of 4 who are in her care, and the Basic Needs Resource Center helps her a lot.
This place means everything to me. We received numerous food items at that wonderful food banks, and then also I didn't know about the clothing until last year, and ever since then we come weekly and we get clothing that we need free of charge.
Some new clothes and a full heart is sometimes all it takes to be life-changing.
My brother, who is 65, recently released from prison and trying to start a new life. He came here and got 2 Charles A. Banks suits that fit him perfectly. It makes him look like $1 million.
Thank you.
The Warrior Closet is open Tuesday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., Wednesdays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The closet is located in the El Camino Commons parking lot L. What a great idea.
It reminds you of the people that are in need and the ways that people are also helping out, which is nice that they don't have to buy anything there, that it's free for them.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder, they probably take donations. I might have a couple.
I was thinking about that too. Yeah, I got to drive that down to Torrance.
Yeah. All right. Well, coming up, we are checking in with Chief Meteorologist Adam Kruger.
Yeah, if you want to take advantage of a warm day to do something outside, tomorrow's the day. 70s, even 80s for high temperatures, but then the temps start falling, and next week is going to be like a totally different season, including rain. We'll talk about that in my forecast coming up.
(2025) certainly a year for the record books.
While we prepare for the new year, America's Newsroom co-host Bill Hammer takes a look back at the past 12 months and the headlines that shaped the year.
The year that was 2025, dominated by politics and war, and President Trump making big changes to the federal government. That while conflicts in Israel and Ukraine intensified, those stories and more dominating the headlines over the past 12 months. The year started with a deadly terror attack in New Orleans. In the early hours of New Year's Day, an Islamic terrorist with ties to ISIS drove a truck into a crowd of people, then opened fire before being killed by police. 15 people lost their lives, including the attacker. Just a week later, a series of massive wildfires engulfed much of Southern California, centered near the city of Los Angeles. The fires burned for 24 days, destroying entire towns and neighborhoods. At least 31 were killed, and the economic losses topped $50 billion.
Repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
Donald Trump became just the second president in American history to be sworn into a second non-consecutive term. And he hit the ground running, immediately signing dozens of executive orders aimed at undoing Biden-era policies and implementing his Make America Great Again agenda. Many of those orders and others to come tested the limits of executive authority, with Democrats pushing back through the courts. The Make America Healthy Again movement had a major impact in 2025, eliminating hundreds of harmful ingredients from the food supply, while pushing food manufacturers to take out the dyes and other chemicals. But it also created significant controversy over its targeting of vaccines. HHS Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. claims they're a major cause of autism. Almost immediately, vaccination rates began to decline. And in June, Kennedy fired all 17 members of the CDC's Vaccine Advisory Committee. The replacements have since voted to overturn several vaccine recommendations, including COVID-19, hepatitis B for babies, and some flu vaccines. In Gaza, a ceasefire was declared in January after President Trump sent his envoy Steve Witkoff to pressure the Israelis. It lasted until March, when Israel began a major new offensive. Another ceasefire was reached in October. That remains in effect as diplomats work on phase 2 of the peace agreement. But it was a different story in Ukraine. The president's push for peace hit significant roadblocks.
We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. Remember this.
Including a fiery Oval Office meeting with Ukraine's President Zelensky.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people.
The two presidents argued back and forth on live TV about whether Zelensky showed enough gratitude for America's support. Ultimately, the relationship was repaired, and there's now a new round of talks underway. Gaza wasn't the only Middle East conflict in 2025. Over the summer, Israel and Iran engaged in back-and-forth airstrikes over the Iranian nuclear program. And then, early on a Sunday morning in the month of June, the U.S. hit the 3 main Iranian enrichment sites in a series of devastating blows. It was called Operation Midnight Hammer. The Pentagon says Iran's nuclear program was set back at least 2 years. The world lost a spiritual leader. Pope Francis passed away. He was mourned as a pope of the people who re-engaged Christians around the world and reached out to other faiths along the way. Just 2 weeks later, the conclave to pick his successor began, and after intense speculation, the College of Cardinals elected the first American pope in the history of the Catholic Church. He was from Chicago. Robert Prevost began his papacy in May. He's now known as Pope Leo the 24th. Almost immediately after taking office, President Trump began a mass deportation program. ICE raids became common sights in immigrant communities as hundreds of thousands were sent back to their countries of origin. The deportations initially focused on immigrant criminals, but they've now broadened to include groups like farm workers and those under temporary protected status. Those ICE raids were met with protests, including some that turned violent. In Los Angeles, clashes between demonstrators and law enforcement prompted President Trump to deploy thousands of National Guard members. Their mission was to protect federal property and help ICE deal with violent protesters during immigration raids. That became a standard tactic. In at least 7 cities, ICE crackdowns were accompanied by federal troops. And in Washington, those troops never left. President Trump claims they're needed to secure the nation's capital. A lawsuit challenging their deployment is making its way through the courts. Over the 4th of July weekend, deadly flooding in central Texas. At least 135 Americans losing their lives when the Guadalupe River overflowed. Many of the casualties there were young girls from a Christian summer camp. A shocking tragedy in our nation's capital. 2 West Virginia National Guard members were targeted by an alleged Islamic militant. Guard member Sarah Beckstrom was killed, while Andrew Wolf was seriously injured. Law enforcement says it was a deliberate ambush. The shooter is now in custody. He reportedly worked for the CIA in Afghanistan and came to the U.S. in September of 2021. President Trump immediately halting immigration applications for all Afghan nationals, and asylum claims for most third world countries are now barred.
Now looking ahead to the new year in 2026. We will see if the ceasefire in Gaza holds and how Team USA does in the World Cup here at home. We're also keeping a close eye on the midterm elections to see whether or not the Republicans can hold the majority. And of course, we will be here for all of it. In New York, Bill Hemmer, Fox News.
That was a lot. that look back.
This has been quite the year.
It really has. Now we're going to focus on the weather tonight. Winds for some people.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some windy spots. We've seen it through the day kind of farther north, and those winds are now spilling down into parts of Los Angeles, kind of coming down the 5 corridors. So from LA west is where we're finding some of those stronger winds now. It's also affecting temperatures tonight. They've gone up in some areas because of these winds. So let's get to it. We'll start, though, here with the wind advisory. So this was in effect starting at noon today and continues until 10 o'clock tonight. So again, it's mainly these areas north where the winds are strongest. But we do see these winds blowing from north to south, kind of spilling down the 5 and down the 405 and hitting some parts of LA and into the west side as well. So this is just a kind of an example of what a few of the weather stations here and there are picking up right now for sustained winds. I know these numbers don't really jump out too much, but if you follow where the blue colors are, that's generally where some of the noticeable gusts are right now, kind of coming through this area. And because of that, we've seen the temperatures surge this evening. After the sun went down, we saw the warmest temps of the day in some locations. And an example is right now it's 72, where a lot of the day for Santa Monica, it was close to about 60 degrees, jumped up into the low 70s just recently. And you can see just kind of the yellow colors on the temperature map right here, and the 60s and a couple 70s. So this is the effect of that wind. You go east where the wind isn't really doing much, and we see temperatures more so in the 50s from around LA eastward and into Orange County. So, you know, we always get these interesting microclimate situations around here. Here's an example of one of them, and the wind is having the impact right now. Those winds will be kind of subsiding, though, as we go through the overnight hours. Okay, temperatures overnight now. For December, not that cool of a night. Yeah, I mean, it's, 50s are cool, but for this time of year, this is actually a little warmer than normal. Many areas fall between about 50 and 55. And then for tomorrow, we're going to see the temperatures at their warmest in a long time. So tomorrow is our warm day. We get a little cooler Friday, a little cooler this weekend, and even cooler next week. Here's a closer look. You can see those 80s across the valleys in the Inland Empire, 70s, probably upper 70s around a lot of LA, and Orange County can say the same. And then you go to the coast and it's cooler, but still on the warm side for December with upper 60s to around 70 along the coast tomorrow. And as far as fog, we don't have a dense fog advisory in effect tonight, whereas last night we did and the night before we did as well. So we don't expect this to be as impactful, but if we see fog, it's going to be in this kind of orange color area. Also, that's where the marine layer clouds are expected to be. So there's always that blend of marine layer with some fog or some mist. All that's possible right in this area right here. Just early in the morning, there's a look at 9 a.m. It's already pretty much gone, and then we'll see a lot of sunshine for the rest of the day. All right, now, as far as rain, we will stay away from rain through this weekend. Next week is a different situation. We see an atmospheric river that's going to be happening the next few days in the northern part of California, and the storm track keeps shifting south into our area, probably around the middle of next week. And you can see the legend right here. So you get into these orange and yellow colors. We're talking about 5, 7, 10 inches of rain, perhaps, in some parts of northern California. Notice the colors around here, though. That would correlate with this range of about 1/2 inch to 2.5 inches here locally. So some significant rain eventually. Looks like it's coming in here, I would say, around Wednesday to Thursday of next week. So 7 to 8 days from now is when rain is going to be most likely. And that just happens to be Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So plan on some rain already during that time frame. All right, high temperatures for LA and Inland Orange County. Again, notice the downward trend over the next several days. Average is 67 for this time of year. So we're 10 above that tomorrow. We're still a little above average Friday in the low 70s. We're around average this weekend in the upper 60s. And then as that wet weather comes in next week, we do expect the temperatures to keep going down. For the coast, around 70 tomorrow, 60s for high temperatures for several days after that. For the valleys and the Inland Empire, we're going to be in the mid-80s tomorrow, 80 degrees Friday, 70s this weekend, so still pretty nice. But we do expect those 60s coming by the middle of next week with that wet weather. Now for the mountains, here's a look at your high temperatures. 60s will change to 50s and then 40s, so it will get colder here in the mountains. But this upcoming round of wet weather, probably not going to do a whole lot for snow. I know people kind of root for the snow, especially around the holidays. I think really high up, like above 8,000 feet, there might be some snow out of this. But this is more of a warm-natured rain-making system. So probably not much snow. Even in the low to kind of mid elevations of the mountains, it'll be more rain than snow. Over to you.
Our rain boots are all ready.
You do?
Pull them out.
You're so prepared.
We still have more news ahead at 8.
But first, here's a preview of what's coming up at 9. Take a live look at LAX. Let the holiday travel frenzy begin, or perhaps it already has. Pretty packed up there on the upper deck. What you need to know if you're hitting the road soon. Plus, protecting homes from future fires. The wildfire resilient homes being built in Altadena. Ahead at 9. The board of Warner Brothers is officially rejecting Paramount's hostile takeover bid. It believes the Netflix offer is still superior and that Paramount's offer was, quote, inadequate. However, it does not mean shareholders will follow the advice. Paramount's bid is worth about $108 billion, whereas the bid Warner Brothers accepted with Netflix is worth about $83 billion. Both offers face regulatory hurdles, with critics warning of market dominance and media consolidation. Well, it's a sign of the times.
It really is. After 50 years on broadcast TV, the Oscars are moving to YouTube. Yeah. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences today announcing an exclusive streaming deal with the goal of reaching more than 2 billion movie lovers worldwide. Along with the Oscars ceremony, YouTube will stream other Academy events featuring multi-language captioning for global audiences. The Oscars will continue to air on ABC for the next 3 years. YouTube takes over starting in 2029. I got to get used to that.
Yeah? Well, you know, change.
Got to get used to that.
Change is coming. Change is happening everywhere. You can't stop it.
Streaming is a whole different ways we watch streaming now.
Yeah, exactly.
Sporting events, football.
We're leaning into streaming.
Yeah, for sure.
So stay tuned.
All right, don't go anywhere. We're not done yet.
Now, LA Live News Tonight continues at 9 o'clock, right after the break. Thanks for being here right now, though.
Live across SoCal, this is LA Live News Tonight on Fox 11 Plus.
Now at 9, the reservoir at the center of the Pacific Palisades wildfire investigation temporarily being taken out of service once again. We're live with details about why Santa Ynez going offline this time. Plus, disturbing moments caught on camera. Border Patrol agents chased down a street vendor, hitting him with a truck before hauling him away. And we're cool and calm down, but we've got some wet weather on the way. Chief Meteorologist Adam Kruger with a preview.
Yeah, it looks like next week, more and more likely we'll get some rain and maybe some heavy stuff, something we'll talk about a little later. As far as tomorrow, though, partly to mostly sunny skies, warm for December temperatures, LA in the 70s, some areas in the 80s. My forecast coming up. Susan?
Good evening to you. You're watching LA Live News Tonight. I'm Susan Hirosuna. New tonight, the reservoir at the center of controversy during the Palisades wildfire is going offline temporarily once again. San Ynez Reservoir was having issues with water supply during the fire, and it remains a large part of the ongoing investigation. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf, live now in Pacific Palisades, with what we know tonight. Matthew?
Well, this reservoir was damaged, fixed, and now it's damaged again. And the timing for these residents really couldn't be worse. Go ahead and take a look at this video. This is the reservoir that everyone's been talking about really for months, Santa Ynez. It was empty 11 months ago during the deadly Palisades fire. In June, LADWP replaced the damaged floating cover, but now it's said to be broken again. So the plan currently is to drain the reservoir in January for another round of repairs. This will leave it without water again for an estimated 9 months. Given fire concerns, crews will construct 6 miles of hose line from water tanks in Topanga and pump that through a 10-inch high-pressure hose to the Palisades. But tonight, residents aren't happy.
This reservoir is really critical. It was built for fire protection. Psychologically, it's one of the main things that the people in the Palisades want. They don't want a cap. They don't want a hose. They want a reservoir that can be used to fight fires.
It's tone deaf, to say the least. On the eve of the anniversary of one of the most traumatic events and largest urban wildfires in the country, to think that they somehow think it's okay at this time and under these circumstances. I mean, look how windy it is even tonight. To be able to take down the reservoir again for another 9 months just makes no sense.
So right now, as it stands, the reservoir is online. It has water tonight, but whenever construction begins, it's scheduled to possibly be without water for as long as 9 months. Reporting live time, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
Okay, Matthew, and what is the fix? What will they be doing for 9 months?
Yeah, so they have to drain it, then they have to replace the damaged cover. It's a floating cover, so it's floating on top of the water that's currently in the reservoir to keep the water clean. But Councilwoman Tracy Park, I spoke with her tonight. She'd like to see a more permanent solution beyond this floating cover, maybe something made of concrete that doesn't always break and need replacement.
Yeah, it seems hard to believe that it was replaced only a few months ago and then they have to do this all again. So the fix takes longer than the time that the reservoir was working.
Unfortunately, yeah, it just got fixed in June, and here we are just a few months later talking about needing more repairs.
I can understand why the residents are so frustrated. Matthew, thank you. In developing news, Nick Reiner made his first court appearance today after being charged in the murders of his parents, Rob and Michelle Singer Reiner. Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez was inside the courtroom.
Your Honor, if we could, I would like to ask for a continuance of the arraignment. I want to get it clear at this juncture. It's too early.
Too early to enter a plea in LA's criminal court. It is the first appearance for Nick Reiner, who's facing murder charges in connection to the stabbing deaths of his parents, filmmaker Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner. Media barred from showing video of the 32-year-old only sketches the tired-looking Nick wearing a blue suicide prevention smock.
Your counsel is requesting that your arraignment be continued.
Reiner whispering the words, "Yes, Your Honor," as he agreed delaying his arraignment till January 7th. After court, his attorney telling reporters,
There are very, very complex and serious issues that are associated with this case.
Fox 11 has obtained surveillance footage of Reiner from a gas station off Exposition Boulevard just before his arrest Sunday. Inside the convenience store, he seems to keep his eye on a man who appears to be law enforcement. Nick pays for a drink and leaves, walking out casually across a parking lot before his arrest, which you can see on this video given to the New York Post. An LAPD cruiser rushes in, an officer gets out, and Reiner puts his hands up. He remains in custody without bail.
This is a devastating tragedy that has befallen the Reiner family. We all recognize that.
We did not see any members of the family, of Nick's family, in court, but his brother and sister did release a statement reading in part, words cannot even begin to describe the unimaginable pain we are experiencing every moment of the day. We have put the whole statement, it goes on our website at foxla.com. The other thing that happened today is a coroner released the cause of death, quote, multiple sharp force injuries. In other words, they were stabbed to death. In downtown Los Angeles, I'm Christina Gonzalez, Fox 11 News.
More developing news tonight. The U.S. government is admitting partial responsibility for a deadly crash near Washington, D.C. An airliner and a Black Hawk helicopter collided near Reagan National Airport last January, killing 67 people. Officials say an air traffic controller violated procedures, but both pilots also made mistakes. The helicopter crossed into the jet's path as it was landing. Victims' families have filed lawsuits, and an attorney says the government's admission is a step forward, but not the full story. A street vendor chased by Border Patrol in broad daylight. Witnesses in Rialto say it ended in a shocking collision. Fox 11's Gina Silva reports the Rialto police say they had no prior knowledge of the pursuit before or after it happened.
The dramatic encounter was captured on security video, but there are two completely different versions of what happened.
Running. Oh, they just like it.
On security video, a Rialto street vendor is seen running through a parking lot while being pursued by Border Patrol agents in a black pickup truck. As the truck passes, the vendor appears to be struck by the passenger side mirror, causing him to lose his balance and fall to the ground.
We were frightened for the gentleman that got hit because they didn't even ask him for his name or anything. They just picked him up and took him in.
They hit him about right here, and they hit him. He tried to run. He couldn't run anymore because obviously his foot was hurt.
Employees at a neighboring dental clinic say they rushed outside when they heard all the commotion. Then they checked their security footage.
They hit somebody, they grabbed him, and they threw him in the car, and they just took off.
Videos of the incident were posted on social media and quickly sparked outrage.
Yeah, that is so bad. Oh. Do you have no size?
But the Department of Homeland Security gives a different account. They say the man is an undocumented Guatemalan national who did not comply with Border Patrol commands, ran, and that he made contact with the mirror on the Border Patrol's vehicle. Part of their statement reads, federal law enforcement officers used their training to pursue the target on foot and had a vehicle pre-positioning to prevent the subject from absconding.
They didn't ask him if he was all right. I know that if it was a police officer, they normally call a medic. They just took off, threw him in the car and took off.
We were very afraid, and also we felt bad for the person because we don't know where he's at, what happened to him. Nothing was able to, we don't have any information.
Homeland Security says the man did not request medical attention and he was taken into custody. His identity has not been released. Reporting from Rialto, I'm Gina Silva, Fox 11 News.
New details on a missing cat caught on camera being picked up by an Amazon delivery driver. Security footage shows a delivery driver walking away with the beloved cat named Piper during a package drop-off last week. Piper's owner says the cat holds deep sentimental value, especially after her husband's passing. She describes Piper as a source of comfort for her children and a lasting connection to their father. Amazon has identified the driver as a third-party flex contractor, but has not been able to reach him. Today, Amazon released a statement saying in part, this was a horrible act. The Amazon Flex delivery partner in question is no longer eligible to deliver to our customers. We're in touch with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office to share relevant information with them and will continue to support their investigation. Still ahead at 9, President Trump addresses the nation from the White House, what he had to say about all that's happened in 2025, and what he has planned for the year ahead. Plus, a family of 7 living out of their car gets a life-changing surprise from the Hood Santa. We're there for the heartwarming moment.
And our forecast highs tomorrow. Look how warm it's going to be for many areas. 70s and 80s. We'll cool off after that. But I think what a lot of people are wondering about the weather is next week. That's when there's rain heading our way in a cooler pattern. We'll talk about that coming up after the break.
We're following some breaking news, this time out of Linwood. A car crashed into a house. Skyfox right over the scene now. You see the car nose deep into the house. No word on what caused this crash or if there are any injuries, but you can see people walking around, the investigators, and there are plenty of black and whites nearby as well. When we have more information, we will bring it to you in our future newscasts. Facing a dip in popularity and criticism over the economy, President Trump spoke directly to voters tonight in prime time, outlining his 2026 political agenda after a year of aggressive policy changes. Those changes included cuts to the federal government and a crackdown on immigration. Fox 11's Connor Hansen has details of the president's speech.
President Trump addressing the nation with a primetime speech from the White House.
Over the past 11 months, we have brought more positive change to Washington than any administration in American history.
Making a major announcement.
In honor of our nation's founding in 1776, we are sending every soldier $1,776.
Closing out the first year of his second term by touting his accomplishments and hoping to flip the script on affordability for Americans still anxious about the economy and inflation.
Tonight, after 11 months, our border is secure, inflation has stopped, wages are up, prices are down.
The president says Americans will feel the benefits from his economic policies much more next year, while blaming his predecessor, Joe Biden, for stubborn high prices.
The last administration and their allies in Congress looted our Treasury for trillions of dollars, driving up prices and everything at levels never seen before.
A recent Fox News poll finds some 72% of voters view the economy negatively, and when compared to a year ago, voters say costs have increased, with groceries and utilities at the top of the list.
He promised he'd bring costs down on day one. The truth is, for too many Americans, costs are just too damn high.
In 2026, President Trump is expected to hold campaign-style events around the country, touting his economic agenda ahead of the midterms. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino is resigning next month, after a short, controversial tenure. The former Secret Service agent and podcast host announced his decision online, thanking President Trump for the opportunity. Bongino faced criticism for past claims about high-profile cases, including the administration's handling of the Epstein files and the January 6th pipe bombs. The January wildfires highlighted the dangers of flying embers, igniting flames, and the importance of wildfire hardening. Now, some homes in the Eaton fire zone are being protected against future fires.
Our homeowners were displaced in the immediate aftermath of the fire, so to be able to come home to a more safe and resilient home has given a lot of our homeowners peace of mind, and also supporting on how folks access their insurance.
The nonprofit agency GER3 is retrofitting more than 50 homes in Altadena at no cost to homeowners. Fire-resistant roofs, gravel surrounding the home, and protective eaves are all important, meeting national standards. Homeowner Gene Hoover says the look may be different than what you are used to, but your home will be safer.
People may feel reluctant to surround their house with gravel or have they may think it's going to change the character of my home once I can reestablish home. But I think if you can work it into your own aesthetic, and you still can have a green yard, you still can have all the elements you've loved in Altadena.
Hoover says it's important that everyone returns to a safe, fire-resistant home.
Weather is sponsored by American Career College.
All right, taking a live look at LAX, and we were talking about fog yesterday. Now we're talking about rain in the future.
Yeah, rain next week, looking more and more likely. But as far as right now, we actually have a pretty interesting situation going on for some areas because of what the wind is doing, and that's got things pretty much cleared out around LAX with the temperature there right now, the warmest it's been all day long. Might sound kind of strange because obviously the sun went down like a little more than 4 hours ago. But because of the wind, we see temperatures in some areas kind of warming up suddenly this evening. So let's explore that in more detail. We have winds blowing in from the north, meaning they're going north to south, and they're especially strong north of LA. This tan-colored area is a wind advisory that will expire pretty soon. It's been in effect all day, and we've seen some areas, especially some of the mountains, where the gusts have gotten over 40 miles per hour. But those north winds are coming up over the Santa Monica Mountains, hitting parts of LA, certainly part of the west side as well, and along the coastline of LA County. And that's where, again, you see these winds kind of out of the north. And it's this area right here where once these winds kind of arrived here a couple hours ago, temperatures started warming up. And so compared to this time last night, Santa Monica right now is 17 degrees warmer. That's an example of what these winds are doing. This little kind of microclimate situation we have going on right now. LAX is at 62, but literally like 5 minutes to the Sierra Nevada. As we take you into next week, though, that track starts to shift farther south and is oriented instead of kind of like a flat west to east, more tilted like this, and comes down towards Southern California. Look at this. Now, this is Christmas Eve, Wednesday of next week. You see, we've got rain, it looks like, for sure, coming our way. Maybe even Christmas Day, we could see wet weather as well. On the 7-day rain outlook, look at these colors here, oranges and yellows in Northern California, showing that there may be more than a half foot of rain coming down out of these next couple of rounds. And then here locally, we're looking at maybe 1 to 2 inches. That's not out of the question for us next week. Also looking at the snow, again, it's going to really pile up there in the Sierra Nevada. Locally, though, this is going to be more of a warm-natured system coming through. So maybe there's a few snowflakes in the real high elevations, notice out towards Big Bear, but I wouldn't, get my hopes up looking for some snow around Christmas in the mountains. I think it's mostly going to be a wet system, although with some cooler temperatures. And the model here is we take you, well, I thought that was going to take you into next week. Let me go manually do this, and I know I'm getting the wrap and I'm running out of time, but I just want to show you something real quick here. This is what I meant to show you, taking you into the end of Thursday of next week. This is at least one model's projection of what might be coming our way around the holidays. So quite a turnaround from what we've seen all month. Susan?
Wow. That's a lot of rain, more than expected. Okay, coming up, a live look at LAX, but if you're hitting the road for the holidays, we have some tips to help you through the travel turbulence. That's next. Stay with us. A record number of Americans are expected to travel once again for the holidays this year. If you're one of them, the experts say start early and be ready to wait. Fox's Mike Emanuel shares tips for a smooth trip.
We just keep building on holiday travel.
The holiday travel period officially kicks off in 3 days, running from December 20th to January 1st. And this year is expected to be one for the record books. AAA is predicting more than 122 million Americans will travel at least 50 miles from home, a 2.2% increase from last year. It's a trend that's been accelerating since the end of the COVID pandemic.
These are the times of year when people want to go out of town, spend time with family and friends. They definitely try to capitalize and maximize the days they have around the holidays.
Most of the holiday travelers will be in cars, but at least 8 million are expected to fly to their destinations, about 200,000 more than last year. And travel experts are telling folks to plan ahead, book flights early, and allow extra time. Some suggesting getting to the airport about 3 hours before your flight takes off.
Get to the airport early. It'll save you so much stress, especially when you don't really know what you can anticipate when you get to the airport and the security lines.
And the TSA is reminding folks to make sure they don't have prohibited items before they get on those long security lines, with extra bag checks expected at major airports across the country.
I'd like to encourage everyone to prepare smartly for travel this holiday season. Above all else, please pack your patience.
The number of travelers isn't the only thing increasing. Prices are also up, with domestic flights averaging about $900, 7% higher than last year. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
I'm Chelsea Edwards in Larchmont, where a home has been broken into for the second time this year. This time, the homeowner says he can track his stuff with an AirTag, but police say their hands are tied. We'll have the details coming up.
Plus, a mom and her 6 kids leaving out of their car get a roof over their heads thanks to a man known as Good Santa.
Live across SoCal, this is LA Live News Tonight on Fox 11 Plus.
New tonight, a brazen break-in caught on camera. 3 suspects, 2 burglaries, and 1 frustrated homeowner tracking his stolen briefcase across town using an AirTag. So, why couldn't the LAPD step in? Fox 11's Chelsea Edwards is live in Larchmont Village with the story. Chelsea.
To put it mildly, this is an incredibly infuriating situation for this homeowner. So he can see where his stuff is in real time, but police say their hands are tied. Watch as a masked, hooded burglar scales a wall and drops into this Larchmont area backyard where another suspect is waiting. Another angle from the home security system show the crooks, 3 of them now, casing the property before breaking through a glass door and tearing through the house. It all happened Saturday when the homeowner, who doesn't want to be identified, was at a holiday party.
We noticed that the French door to the backyard is broken, and I just kind of totally realized it's happened again. It was like a huge shock to us. I'm just tired of it. Twice is enough. Once was enough.
This wasn't a one-off. It's the second time his house was hit this year alone. Back in January, the homeowner says more sophisticated thieves jammed the Wi-Fi and gutted the house of valuables. But this time, there wasn't much left to steal, but the suspects left behind a clue.
And I realized the contents of my briefcase, the laptops and iPads in my briefcase was on the bed. They must have taken the briefcase. And then I thought, wait a minute, there's an AirTag. So I went to my phone and then tried to find it, and it's still on. And it was on 2 blocks away from here.
With the AirTag pinging nearby, he immediately contacted the LAPD, hoping police could jump into action.
And the officer told me that they can't really go in and look for, because it's an apartment building. It has to be on an open road or moving so they can identify easily, or it has to be in a single-family home. So I was excited, but it got kind of deflated.
Since then, he's been watching helplessly in real time as the AirTag moves from one apartment building to another across Los Angeles.
It's kind of very frustrating. I don't really care too much about getting the things back, but I want these people to get caught.
His message, more needs to be done to deter crooks.
If we can at least increase the catch rate or arrest rate, then there may be some deterring effect for these thieves to do these kind of things, because now it's out of control in a way, because there's no consequences, it's just come and go.
So police say, they kind of explained all of this. They say that AirTags can point to a general location. So, they're showing an address in an apartment unit, an apartment complex, but they don't show the actual unit. So you've got multiple people in multiple units living at that one address. They can't go in and search each and every unit without violating the rights of a lot of innocent people in the process. A single family home, however, is different. It gives them a lot more probable cause to be able to go and get a warrant and investigate, because there's only, one person or one unit living at that address. You're not talking about multiple people. So that's the issue there. But, this AirTag is not going to be on forever. The thieves will probably figure it out at some point and either smash it or get rid of it. And by that point, none of this matters anyway. So this homeowner says it really just points to a bigger problem. This is happening over and over again. He says he just feels like a number in the system. He never heard back after the first report was taken for the first burglary of all of his valuable items. And he doesn't think he'll hear back again with this one. So it's really frustrating and kind of disheartening to just feel like this is such a problem that the authorities are just kind of moving through them very quickly and aren't really following up. So he says it's time for the community to get together and really figure out a solution, because this is an ever-growing problem here in LA County. Susan?
Frustrating, Chelsea, indeed. Well, does the homeowner feel like perhaps he should become his own detective and go to the location? Maybe he might recognize the perpetrators?
So that thought was brought up, but when you look at that video from this surveillance system, these are 3 masked men. They're really not playing around. It is not a good idea for anybody to go and try to confront these people on their own. I mean, if they're able to commit a crime like this and smash through their French doors and ransack this house, those aren't the kind of people you want to be just going up to and confronting on your own. So he's smarter than that. He's considered that, but he says that's not an option for him. He won't do it without police, and police say there's just nothing they can do because they're going from apartment building to apartment building.
All right, Chelsea, thank you. Run, run, Rudolph. Santa's got to make it to town. Check this out. 2 reindeer are seen running loose on the 5 freeway last weekend. Now they're back with their owner. Cookie and Noel escaped their transport trailer early Saturday. They're safe now. Don't worry. California Highway Patrol and LA Animal Services worked together to corral the reindeer with help from Caltrans and a Good Samaritan. Santa traded his sleigh for a fire truck to bring holiday cheer to a young patient at Miller Children's and Women's Hospital in Long Beach. For 28 years, firefighters have joined Santa to deliver gifts, smiles, and joy to kids spending the holidays in the hospital. This year, they visited rooms, handed out gift bags, and waved to children in isolation.
Yeah. It's Santa. It's already Christmas.
The tradition, part of the LBFD Kids program, brings comfort and hope to families during a challenging time. Well, he's known as Hood Santa, a local man making a difference. Fox 11's Nick Garcia is in Long Beach, where one family is no longer on the streets, at least for now.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas.
This is the moment Tito Rodriguez, the Hood Santa, surprised Sabrina Martinez and her 6 kids with a 2-night stay in an Airbnb. But most nights look different for them. Martinez is disabled and has faced challenges.
One day, our landlord sold the property and we became homeless.
She says she's been unable to secure housing.
And we've been trying and trying and trying and trying. No luck, no luck.
The family has been in and out of hotels, and when they can't scrape together enough money for one, they sleep in their SUV.
I just look back and just look at them like I gotta do something. I say, God, please help me.
She says her prayers were answered when she reached out to Rodriguez, who for more than a decade has been helping serve underprivileged communities in the LA area under the nickname Hood Santa.
I read the message and it tugged at my heart. She said, hey, you know, I have 6 children. I'm living in the park. I'm homeless. So they asked for water and peanut butter crackers. And that's what reeled me in.
He showed up with food and has been working to help find the family housing.
So it's ready to go.
It's ready to go.
A place to sleep and a kitchen.
The stove. I want to cook so bad. I want to be able to make my kids a meal.
As Sabrina looks for a sign things will get better, the words painted on the Airbnb seem to spell it out. This must be it. Nick Garcia, Fox 11 News.
All right, and this little tip for you, if you have a corporate job and are thinking of donating, check with your company. They may match or even double your donation. And the foundation that is Hood Santa's, Local Hearts Foundation. So we apparently looked it up on our Benevity site, and that charity is indeed listed. All right, we're going to turn now to meteorologist Adam Kruger. I can't believe you're talking rain for Christmas.
Yeah, and a pretty good amount of it, it looks like, at least potentially. It's a long way off, so things can, vary a little bit in between what it looks like now and what actually happens. But yes, next week, totally different kind of weather. As far as right now, and I've been talking about this through this evening, it's really interesting to see some of the small scale things we have going on, or microclimates situation going on, because of what we see with the winds. And throughout much of the day today, they've been strong from the north in this area, and there's still some strong wind gusts here and there. Notice this wind advisory is only in effect for another few minutes or so longer, until 10 o'clock. But we've seen this little stripe of winds coming out of the north over the Santa Monica Mountains and warm things up right here on the west side and along the coast of LA County. And so when you compare the temperature, for example, right now in Santa Monica compared to this time last night, it's 17 degrees warmer right now. It's 73 in Santa Monica at the pier right now. And this is the warmest it's been basically all day. It was way cooler during the daytime when the sun was actually out. So these winds having a little impact on the temperatures, kind of a little slice of 70s right here. Manhattan Beach at 70 degrees. LAX a short time ago was at 70. Now it's down to 62. But away from those winds, you go out this direction, and where the winds are essentially calm and the cool air is settling down, that's where we have temperatures right now in the 50s. Now, that temperature difference that we see currently, that's not going to be lasting much longer, maybe another hour or two. And then, as you see, most of the greater LA area generally falling into the mid to low 50s for most low temperatures overnight. And then tomorrow is going to be our warmest day of the week, and I'd say the warmest for the foreseeable future, next 7 to 10 days, this should be the warmest day. So let's bring you in closer. You can see how there's a lot of 70s and even Valley and Inland Empire 80s showing up tomorrow. And along the coast, there could be a couple spots hitting 70 degrees as well. Less of that fog overnight, but it's still possible along the coast for a little while, or at least the marine layer, but not too dense like we've seen the last couple of nights. Now our storm track, which has been up here lately, continues up in that area for another couple of days. Notice Northern California Friday getting hit with a bit of an atmospheric river situation. Same thing this weekend on Sunday, so the rain is really going to pile up right here. That storm track starts shifting south as we go into next week. So we think maybe Tuesday at the earliest we could see some rain, but probably a wider round as it looks now. And I say that because, again, it can change, but as it looks now, Wednesday, Christmas Eve day, we may find some more widespread rain coming our way. And on Christmas Day itself, on Thursday, it looks like rain could be a possibility as well. And during that time, temperatures will be colder. But in the meantime, tomorrow for LA, 77, then 72 for Friday. It does get cooler with a little more cloud cover this weekend, but by December standards, it's still not bad. Upper 60s. You see the temperatures lower next week. You see the rain chances as well. 30% Tuesday and 60% Wednesday. So it's looking more likely middle to end of next week to be getting some of that rain. Probably not a whole lot of mountain snow around here, though. This would be more like a warm-natured system. Susan?
Thanks so much, Adam. We have breaking news to tell you about out of Reseda in the San Fernando Valley. We're learning from police an alleged drunk driver crashed into another car and then possibly assaulted the other driver. This happening on Yarmouth Avenue in the Reseda area. And as we look at the live shot from Skyfox, you can see that there are a lot of law enforcement around there, and we did see a tow truck driver that is apparently getting ready to right the big white van. Oh, it looks like maybe since I first looked at it, they finally got it so it's at least on all four wheels. And developing tonight, the manhunt continues in Providence, Rhode Island for the person who killed 2 Brown University students last weekend. Fox's CB Cotton has the latest from Providence.
As the manhunt for the Brown University campus shooter continues, investigators are searching for more evidence in the immediate area where the gunfire erupted. But Rhode Island's Attorney General says there are some details they can't and won't publicly share, like the weapon used and whether the shooter yelled anything before opening fire.
As we interview witnesses, we don't want them to learn facts from these press conferences. We want them to relay the facts that they have in their heads.
Investigators are now asking for the public's help to identify a second person seen in a dark navy jacket, green hood, and dark pants. Providence police say this person was caught on surveillance, nearly passing the person of interest, who turns around and runs away. But other video shows him casually casing the neighborhood hours before the shooting. Investigators say they'll get closer to an arrest if someone can identify these 2 people.
That's why we're putting it out to the public to assist us in identifying who this person is.
Officers also releasing a new color-coded map. The green, the path the person of interest walked before the shooting. Red, the path he took immediately after. And the entire blue zone, where investigators say they need the public's help in finding footage of the man on the day of the shooting.
If you have a camera system, to reach out to us. We want to make sure that we don't miss anything, and so that's why we're asking the public to help us.
Providence officers say they're still trying to identify a motive in everyone who was inside the study session when gunfire erupted. Brown University, a school with an endowment of more than $8 billion, is also being asked why there were no cameras inside the part of this building where the shooting took place. Brown only saying tonight it's handed over all the video that it has. In Providence, Rhode Island, CB Cotton, Fox News.
A big holiday surprise for U.S. troops. Up next, President Trump announces a hefty Christmas bonus funded by tariffs. President Trump had lots more to say tonight in his nationwide speech. I'll break it down for you with political analyst Dan Schnurr when we come back. Tonight, President Trump announcing a nearly $1,800 Christmas bonus for U.S. troops funded by tariffs. Speaking at the White House, he said 1.45 million service members will receive the Warrior dividend before Christmas. In his speech, Trump aiming to reassure Americans about the economy despite rising inflation and a weakening job market. He blamed economic challenges on his predecessor, Joe Biden, while touting progress under his leadership. Just after the speech, I spoke to political analyst Dan Schnurr. He's both a professor at UC Berkeley's Institute of Governmental Studies and USC's Annenberg School of Communications. This is what he had to say about Trump's speech. What is your takeaway from that speech, which lasted more than the 15 minutes that was promised?
Okay, so in many ways, this is a very typical Donald Trump speech. There's two important things about it, one stylistically and one substantively. Stylistically, Trump tends to feed off of his audiences. When he speaks to rallies and he gets applause to his favorite lines, that's something that energizes him, and it's something that really allows him to present at his best. Without an audience tonight, you could see that he was somewhat uncomfortable, and in some ways almost a little bit defensive. The first words out of his mouth were, "We inherited a mess." So you can tell that he's just not as comfortable without that audience in front of him. Substantively, aside from the remarks about his predecessor, aside from his remarks about immigration and Somalia and other less focused issues, his core message tonight about the economy, about inflation, about prices, ironically enough, was almost identical to the message that Joe Biden delivered to the American people during the last couple of years of his presidency. In both cases, we heard a president of the United States trying to convince the American people that the economy was better than many voters feel that it is, and trying to jawbone voters into believing that their lives are better than they think is an uphill task for any president, whether it be Biden or Trump or any other.
So the way this speech was sort of labeled, if you will, or when the White House says we've got this speech coming up, it was pretty much like, let's talk about this past year and what will happen in 2026, which he did sort of address. But also he's looking at the midterms. Doesn't he have a tough road to hoe in terms of convincing the U.S., as you say, the residents, that things are better than they are? So he's laying out the reason why you need to stick with the GOP, correct?
Well, that's exactly right. Ever since last month's elections, Trump and the White House have been focusing or attempting to focus on the concept of affordability in fighting inflation. And I have to say, for the past several weeks, while Trump has been mouthing a lot of the words, it doesn't seem like his heart is in it. On one hand, he has talked, as he did tonight, about why he believes the Democrats are responsible for the inflation. On the other hand, he tends to dismiss affordability as a hoax, which sort of undermines his own message. So think about tonight's address almost as a do-over. This is the White House saying, we've been trying to deliver an affordability economic growth message for the last month or so. It really hasn't been working. Let's try it again. And because Trump was speaking off of a teleprompter, if nothing else, the message was more focused on those economic and affordability messages than it has been when he's been out on the trail over the last several weeks.
All of those people that rely on the Affordable Care Act for their insurance, this was new, or not too new, but a few more details from the president about buy your own insurance. How much should people on the ACA take some solace that perhaps that would be a better option for them?
Well, so the great irony here is because of the way our political realignment has taken place in recent years, as more and more working class voters align with the Republican Party and more college graduates and wealthier voters line up with the Democrats. Ironically enough, those voters who are being hurt, who will be hurt by the increase in Affordable Care Act premiums at the beginning of January, disproportionately live in Republican states. And so to a large degree, Donald Trump was talking to his base tonight. And so he talked to them about immigration, he talked to them about Somalia and about crime, but he also talked to them about healthcare because the issue is so much more relevant to them for the first time in modern history than it has been for Democrats. You mentioned the midterm elections just a moment ago. And it's worth remembering that while presidential elections are primarily about persuading undecided voters, the primary strategic goal of a presidential campaign is to move those centrist voters in one direction or the other. Because fewer people turn out to vote in midterms, a midterm election's primary goal is about motivating a party's base. And right now, Democrats are much more motivated by Donald Trump and by inflation than they ever were by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. What you saw Trump more than anything else doing tonight was trying to remind MAGA Nation why they signed up with him to begin with and why they should stick with him and the Republicans next year.
Well, we'll see what happens when the midterms come. Dan Schnurr, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate your perspective. The last U.S. pennies ever minted just sold for over $16 million. An auction here in California featured rare sets, including a 1925 penny, a 24-karat gold penny, and a 1925 D penny. Over 230 sets sold, averaging $72,000 each, with one fetching $800,000. This comes a month after the U.S. Mint stopped making pennies following a Trump administration order citing cost inefficiency. Move over, Mariah. A 40-year-old holiday favorite just knocked All I Want for Christmas Is You off the global charts. We'll tell you why this iconic song is stealing the spotlight. Congratulations, LA. LA is leading the way in live music for 2025. A new report from Bands in Town shows LA is the top U.S. city for ticket demand, with venues like Crypto.com Arena ranking among the most sought after globally. Smaller spots like the Virgil are also thriving, highlighting the city's vibrant mix of big arenas and independent venues. Mariah Carey's reign as the Queen of Christmas has hit a bump. Her holiday hit, All I Want for Christmas Is You, has been dethroned on Billboard's Global 200 chart by this song. Wham's 40-year-old classic Last Christmas is on top. It's the first time since 2020 that Carrie's song hasn't topped the global list. The late George Michael's estate called the Wham hit a timeless record. But don't worry, Mariah still holds the top spot on U.S. charts. Happening tonight is the opening night of the 117th annual Newport Beach Christmas Boat Parade. The event features nearly 100 dazzlingly decorated boats, a fireworks show, and a holiday market at Marina Park. The parade runs nightly through December 21st, spanning 14 miles of Newport Harbor with 50 public